Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. You are able to see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Let us start the meeting. Welcome to the class on Bhagavad Gita. Achakalpatarabhisa Kapasintu Vaishapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So today we are we'll be discussing majorly on topics like till last week we discussed from text 1 to text 6 of chapter 2. Now we will be focusing majorly on text 7 to text 12. So, in this, the major context is that Arjuna accepts Krishna as his guru, and then he gives major reasons why he wants advice from guru, and then Krishna starts the first part of the discussion on death is inevitable, soul is indestructible. So this is jnana, or it's a knowledge about the soul. So this is the Atma Jnana section, so 11 to 30. So this, the beginning of this, we will see today. So let us see the shloka. So BG 2.6 is Nachaidad Vidman Katro Nagiryo Yadva Jayame Yadiva Najayu Yaneva Atva Najiji Vishamas Deva Stita Pramuke Dhardrashtra. So now do we know which is better, which is either being conquered by them or conquering them. So Arjuna is actually thinking that we are going to fight this war. Um, whether we will win the war or lose the war, we don't know. But he also says that if he wins by killing the sons of Dhritarashtra, he doesn't like to live because it is not worth worth the effort. So this talks about the compassionate nature of Arjuna. So here we clearly see in this section 6 this this 7 to 10, it's all indecision. So Arjuna is not ready to fight. He thinks that it is better to live by begging. This we see that at the end of chapter 1, as well as the we see in the beginning of chapter 2 that he is not willing to fight. Maybe it is better for, he thinks that it is better to live by begging. There are two instances in Mahabharata which we should understand. One is both are related with Bhishma. In one of the situation, um, the Bhishma Dev is rejecting order of his martial teacher who is Parashura. So in different circumstances, Bhishma happened to be abducting Hamba, that was one of the princes, and then Amba is left alone without any marriage. So the Hamba as approaches Parashuram, and then Parashuram asked Bhishma to marry Hamba because Bhishma was one of the reasons why Hamba is right now unmarried. So, but Parashuram then faces a stiff battle with Bhishma because Bhishma rejects Parashuram's order, saying that the principle of brahmacharya is at a much higher level than marrying anyone. So, if the principles are higher, then we should follow the principles, and we should resist any kind of circumstances which will take us away from the principle. So we see that Bhishma Dev did this. Now there is one more instance, same thing from Bhishma Dev's life. We see that Bhishma Dev was a silent spectator when Draupadi was disrobed in the Asatsava. So instead of respecting women, he just a moment. So instead of stopping the women Draupadi from getting dishonored, he was telling that the dharma is the points of dharma are very difficult to understand. So he did not prevent Draupadi's dishonor. So the higher principle here is that a woman's honor should be always protected. So Bhishma did not follow this higher principle. Therefore, now it is a time for Arjuna to send a strong lesson to the future generations that however powerful a person may be, if he follows, if he supports adharma, he will be vanquished. So Bhishma Dev, when he was asked to move away from higher principle, he fought. So now Arjuna has to fight. So, so Arjuna has two lessons here. One is that he has to go with higher principles, and anything which supports Krishna and Krishna's devotees is a higher principle. So Krishna here is asking Arjuna to fight. So he has to fight. And anyone who is against Vaishnavas, in this case Bhishma and Drona, they need to be killed. So this is the higher principle. So there is a very good shloka in Bhagavad Gita in Mahabharata. Guru api avaliptasya karyam ajanatah utpata pratipanyasya parityago vidyate. It means it is one's duty to give up guru who cannot teach his disciple what he should do and what he should not do. And and if the guru takes a wrong path, either because he is taking a wrong association or he is opposed to Vaishnavas, he needs to be rejected. So here, Drona and Bhishma are to be rejected. So this is the first thing. So in this 2.6 shloka, we see that um, in a battle there is a win or a lose situation, but Arjuna is seeing that there is only lose situation in this case, or the the outcome of the war is not um, outcome of the war is the outcome of the war is not very straight case. So it is, if he is fighting, the result is win is also bad. If he lose but gets not killed, he is not happy with this outcome. And if he loses and gets killed, then why he has to fight? He can as well give the kingdom to give the kingdom to the opponents, which is Dhritarashtra's sons, Duryodhana. And if he is not fighting, then there is a bigger problem. He has to go to the forest and beg. So it is definitely not a straight case. So he is in a dilemma and he does not know how to move forward here. So how should he move forward? He does not know. So Arjuna then displays intelligence. So the intelligence is in knowing what we should do when we do not know what we should do. So, or do not know what to do. So that is the moment when we need to pray and seek guidance from Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in case of Arjuna, Supreme Personality of Godhead is available straight away in front of him as a charioteer. But for us, this is available in the form of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So Guru guides us, uh, being Krishna's representative. Shastras are given are the word of God, and this Sadhu association, the association is also Krishna's mercy. So by this, we will be able to come out of any kind of difficult situations in our life. So our intelligence is in seeking advice from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Now, Arjuna in this case is frozen by this decision. He realizes that he does not know what to do, and hence he is not able to decide. So he is now falling at the feet of Lord Krishna, and this becomes the context of the next verse. So let us look at the next verse, which is Karpanya dosha. Karpanya, miserliness. Dosho is weakness. Weakness. He is now affected by miserly weakness, and as a characteristic of this, he is bewildered. Karpanya dosha upatsava prichami tvam dharma sammuda chetaha. Yet Shreya, Sayan Nishchita. Shreya means long term good. Shreya, 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 all good. Shreya, Shai Nishchitam Bruhitan me, confidently Bruhi, tell to me, Shishyaste, I am surrendering unto you as disciple. So he is now in a form of surrender. So is this surrender a well justified, or it's a superficial surrender? So in text 2.0, let us look at the word dosha. So in text 2.2, Krishna is chastising Arjuna that you are an important person, you are anarya, klaibya, anarya jastam, asvargyam, akirti. Like that is akirti means not intelligent. So Arjuna is using similar word here. So he is very well into the chastisement of Krishna, and he feels that what Krishna is telling is true, and he is not able to understand how we can. How he can come out of this situation. So he has to definitely surrender unto Krishna and come out of it. So so now this weakness is because he is affected by the Pratyaksh Praman. So now he has to hear Shabda Praman so that he can come out of it. And this is his weakness. This weakness he has to overcome. Okay, so now he is asking, what is my long term benefit? So this is one of the very important shlokas in Bhagavad Gita. And the purport here is also very, very classic purport, where Prabhupada is majorly talking about perplexities of life, difficulties of life. So in our morning Mangalarti, Kalida Tranaya Karanya Gana Ganatvam Praptasya Kalyana Gunarnavasya Vande Guru Shri Sharanaravinda. So, so what we are in this, the meaning, the purport of this shloka is that spiritual master is constantly receiving benediction from Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the ocean of mercy. So, and this ocean of mercy is pouring rain. So when there is a forest fire, so this perplexities of life is related with forest fire, and this perplexities, when it happens, when it goes, when it comes back again, we don't know. It is just like a random occurrences of the forest fire. So this blazing fire of material existence gives us this perplexities, and this can be uh, overcome only by taking proper guidance. And this guidance is not a material guidance but a spiritual guidance. Any amount of water thrown from a helicopter or so cannot put down a forest fire. But on the other hand, if it showers, if there is a rain, a dense rain, then in within few seconds the entire fire is put down. So any amount of material support cannot um, help us to overcome the perplexities of life. So this is the entire purport here. So he is telling that bona fide spiritual master is very important in our life. We need to approach a bona fide spiritual master. So we need to take spiritual guidance. Then only it is possible for us to overcome problems of life. So, so many times people know that people have read BG, but who knows what we need to? That is Bhagavad Gita. If you are in India, many people know Bhagavad Gita, but they have not realized it because they are not ready to execute the will of the Lord. So, what is the will of the Lord? In this specific case, to Arjuna, Arjuna has to fight. So, like that, for us, it is it is to engage in service of Krishna. Read Bhagavad Gita every day, memorize shlokas, chant 16 rounds, follow four regulatory principles. So, this is the will of the Lord for this Kali Yuga. And if we follow this will of the God, then we can realize Bhagavad Gita. Can we realize the will of the God immediately? No, we cannot. But we need to start reading Shastras like Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, where we can come to know about different devotees and the way they have acted in different situations. Like, for example, Ajamila, how he acted at the time of death, Dhruva Maharaj, how he acted, Bharat Maharaj, how he acted when he found that he was misguided by the deer. Then Prahlad Maharaj, how in spite of not having any association, he created his own association. So he was Mahabhagavato Bhagavat. So he is supreme of all the Bhagavat. So Narada praises him in Bhagavad Gita, in the Srimad Bhagavata. So from the descriptions of the scripture, we can understand the life of devotees and then how they have applied the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita in executing the will of the Lord, or uh, how they have realized the Supreme Personality of God and executing their will of the Lord. So when we read this, then we get a broader perspective of the will of the God. So now, this is in the broader sense. So how do we know how to apply this in narrow or specific situations? So, for example, following 60, four regulatory principles, getting up early in the morning, attending Mangalarti, then uh, then take prasadam only, associate with devotees. These are generic principles which we need to follow in general sense. There could be some specific instances, like for example, when we are traveling. So when we are traveling, what we should do? The general principle still remains. Say for example, we need to take prasad. So we need to take dry prasad with us. We need to carry some books with us so that we can engage in reading shastra. We can utilize the time properly. Then whatever best possible, we should get up. Maybe we are traveling in train, it is not possible for us to take bath, but we still get up at 4:30 and do mangalarti. So even in narrow and specific situations, we will get guidance if we are following the general uh, the principles in general. So this is something that we need to do, and once we practice it, Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idam Pratyakshavagavam Dharmya Susukam Kartum Avyayam. So this is king of knowledge. It's the topmost of the secret. It is the best of all the science. And when you start doing it, you will realize it. Pratyakshavagavam Dharmyam. And it is joyfully performed. So you need to do this. And we will get, in a short span of time, we will get an understanding how to apply this in narrow and specific instances. So in this purport, Prabhupada actually also talks about this kripanas. So who is kripana? So here, uh, this one comes in the context of Shreya, the long-term benefit. So, so it is important for us to understand that we are in bodily conception of life, and bodily conception of life results in suffering and bondage. So, kripana is a person who does not um, take any steps to overcome this bondage, and he is constantly pulled into the whirlpool of this bodily conception again and again, in spite of reading so many scriptures, even after being in association with devotees, even after chatting 16 rounds, is still pulled into the bodily conception of life. So, once we give up this bodily conception, then we get the real happiness and we start focusing on God. So, right now, Arjuna is in this bodily conception, so he's not able to think on the higher principles. So, so what happens is Arjuna is thinking that he is in the bodily conception, so he is very weak-minded. So and he understands that this is not a long-term good for him. So he is surrendering now to Krishna. So if our relatives are Krishna consciousness and we are attached to them and serve them properly, then it is like serving the devotees. This is Krishna consciousness. But Arjuna, in case of Arjuna, he is showing attachment to devotees, attachment to people, his relatives, who were against Dharma. So this type of attachment is going to be simply a source of bondage, and this will result in further problems of life. So if we are attached, if we have a bad association, then instead of giving up the association, if we continue with the bad association, we have problems in our life like spoiled health, spoiled um, spoiled relationship, loss of opportunity to serve Krishna. So this we can see also in case of Arjuna. He is now mentally imbalanced, and because he is refusing to follow Krishna's order, he is losing a opportunity to serve Krishna. So he is now seeing this as a lose-lose situation. Arjuna is seeing this as a lose-lose situation. So now he thinks he is not able to do a right judgment here. and he being an intelligent person, he's a Vaishnava principally, so he seeks help from Krishna. So to solve problems of life which is beyond our control, it is important that we surrender to higher authority. So we need to approach the spiritual master. So, so according to Srila Prabhupada, everyone in this world must have a spiritual master. So there is a possibility, or a person may ask a question: is it possible that we can approach a spiritual master every time when we have a doubt? So for this only we have this Guru, Sadhu, Shastra principles. That is why we have Guru, books. Prabhupada's books are there. So we need to read the books on regular basis so that we get clarity on the the Krishna conscious philosophy. So Krishna is manifesting through Guru. So in this case, Srila Prabhupada is the prime Shiksha Guru, and he has given his books in the form of Bhagavad Gita, as it is Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the book manifestation of Krishna. And in addition to that, we have Super Soul. Super Soul is available in our heart who can give us guidance on what we need to do. And there are devotees available whose association we can take. So this all starts with Hadav Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha. So first comes the Shraddha, that we should surrender unto Krishna. So here we see when Arjuna is telling that he is Shishyaste, is telling that Shishyaste Aham Shadi Mam Tvam Prapannam, then it means he is having the basic Shraddha to surrender unto Krishna. So Arjuna is bewildered by the sensual perception, and that is specifically the Pratyaksh Praman, and now he is surrendering to Krishna. So this surrender to Krishna is resulting in manifestation of Bhagavad Gita. So let us go to the next shloka, 2.8. Nahi prapashyami mamanupadyat yachokam uchchosanam indriyanam avyapai bhumam asapattam ritam rajyam suranam apichadipatyam. So in the previous verse, Arjuna is telling that he is not able to solve the problem. So here he is telling, so he is surrendering to Krishna. But here he is further confirming, I can find no means to drive the grief. So that means even if he wins the opulent kingdom, is not going to solve the problems. It is not going to solve the problems. And if he is leaving, renouncing, one way is getting more wealth, other way is renouncing all the wealth, which is false renunciation. Both of them are not going to support him in overcoming the grief. So it is drying his senses. His mouth is getting dried up. His body is burning. He's unable to decide anything. So he's saying, Nahi prapashyami manno mamanupadyat yachokam uchosam indriyana, drying up my senses. Avyapay bhumau asapattam riddham. Uh, I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom with sovereignty like demigods in heaven. So, this is the reason why he is surrendering unto Krishna. So 2.7 is surrender of Arjuna to Krishna, and the 2.8 is a reason that why Arjuna is surrendering to Krishna. So Arjuna is telling indirectly telling to Krishna that nothing will solve the problem. I am surrendering unto you because you will solve this problem for me. Arjuna is sucked up in all in the circumstances of the life. So even the ideal situation of unrivaled kingdom on earth, there are no enemies, no shortage of any wealth, there are no natural calamities. It is like heaven. it is not going to solve the problem. So that is what Arjuna is telling. So in our life there are three dimensions, we can always tell. Every living entity has three dimensions in his life. One is the spiritual dimension, other one is emotional, and other one is material. When it is material, we can take it as a gross, and then emotional is more with subtle, spiritual is more with soul. uh, we not surrendering unto Krishna is a spiritual issue, and we do not have food, clothing, shelter. That is a gross problem. We have lot of emotional issues, like two friends are fighting with each other, they are speaking harsh words, son is disrespecting the father, spouse does not understand, the husband and wife do not have proper understanding, boss exploits this employee. These are all emotional situations. And spiritual is we are not engaging ourselves in service of Krishna. So emotional link is something which is, if we are engaging our mind in material conditions or material, say for example, if you are engaged in watching TV, our mind is engrossed with material things. If we are engaged in reading Srimad Bhagavatam, keep our intelligence and mind focused on Srimad Bhagavatam, then it goes to spiritual level. So emotional situation is in between the emotional is between the spiritual and material level. So we can see sometimes the emotional problems are more tormenting than the physical situation. So right now, when Arjuna is telling it is drying up his senses, it is more emotional problem. And because of this emotional imbalance, his entire body is having a lot of burning sensations, his senses are drying, he's not able to speak, he's not able to stand, his hands are shivering, his legs are shaking. So these physical situations manifest because he is emotionally imbalanced. So if somebody is emotionally imbalanced, any amount of material comfort or physical situation cannot give him comfort. So this means if somebody is hungry, a good sleep will not help him. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is one particular pastime of Chitraketu Maharaj. So there is a man who is very hungry, but somebody comes and gives him a garland to wear, which is made up of nice flowers. It will not solve his hunger problem. So every problem requires a appropriate solution. So in Arjuna's case, he's torn apart by the emotional stress, whether he should fight or not, winning kingdom is good or not, whether going for begging is okay or not. He's not able to solve any of this, so he's indecisive. So when we have such kind of issues, we need to look into Krishna and Krishna's devotees. We need to connect to Krishna's and Krishna's devotees. When we do that, we get easily liberated from miseries and we can go to the spiritual world. So this is what is emphasized in this specific shloka of Bhagavad Gita. So why Arjuna is linking himself to Krishna? He is thinking his emotional problem cannot be solved by the material problem. Therefore, he has to take association of Krishna, who is at a much higher level. Then only he can find solutions to the problem. So any amount of wealth, so in our modern civilization, going to school is only helping us to make getting engaged in some kind of vocational activities whereby we get money, but after that we get into problem of illicit sex, drug abuse, exploitation of labor exploitation, child abuse, and so on. So this type of things manifest because we are emotionally not supported. So Krishna consciousness that way gives a very good remedy for all kind of emotional problem as well as physical problem. So this is a very important thing. Yeah. So Prabhupada actually continues the previous purport where he is bringing the importance of qualification, why we need to go with a guru, yeah, and why our economic development cannot solve the problems. So that is why in Europe there is so much of wealth in Europe, but still there are so many issues there, and they are not able to solve problem. One good example is this football match. Football match is for satisfying ego of one country or one team against the another team, but they end up fighting. The football match ends, but the fight between the supporters goes on, and they are not satisfied because a small material game cannot solve their emotional issues. So they need to come for higher level. Okay, so with this note, we go to the next shloka, which is 2.9. So now Arjuna has surrendered to Krishna and he is giving a specific reason why he has surrendered to Krishna. So now Sanjaya is concluding this part. That is, he is now concluding this part of the first part of um, the Bhagavad Gita chapter 2. Let us go to the shloka. Sanjay Vacha Evam Muktva Rishikesham Gudakesh Parantapa Nayotsa iti Govindam Uktva Tushni Babua. So, so he has spoken. Gudakesha and Parantapa are coming one after the other, and both are uh, good adjectives which describe Arjuna. Arjuna is chastiser of enemies, Parantapa. He is also a conqueror of ignorance. Though his name is chastiser of enemies and conqueror of ignorance, right now he is showing symptoms of ignorance and being under in the surrendering mood to his enemies. But no worries, he is with Rishikesha, who knows how to take care of his devotees. And he is pleasure giver to the senses and is a pleasure giver to the cows. So he is now going to get liberated. So that is the specific reason of having Govinda and Rishikesha. If you remember, in the first chapter, Arjuna is using the same Rishikesha to Krishna, where the connotation is that Krishna, don't you understand that I don't want to fight? Why you want to put me in fight? You are Rishikesha. You are no master of the senses. Please satisfy my senses. But here Sanjaya is using the same word, that master of senses knows how to control the senses of Arjuna. So the fight is going to be no, this is going to be interesting. How Krishna is going to convince Arjuna and make him fight. So this particular stanza is also reply to uh, Dhritarashtra's first question. Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yutsa Mamaka Pandavasya Kim Akurvat Sanjaya. So he is actually replying to also to that question. We'll go to the next one. Tam vacha Rishikesha Prahasanaiva Bharata Senayor Ubayor Madhe Visidantam Idam Vacha. So this is also very significant. So we can see here that once again there is a word Rishikesha. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna smiling, Prahasanaiva. In the midst of both armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. So now Bhagavad Gita is going to manifest. So here, this Visintantam is coming in 2.1 also. So if you see the presentation here, so between second and third shloka, which was spoken by Krishna, Krishna is giving a pep talk. So he's not going to give advice to a person just like that. One of the easiest thing right now we see in material world as well as in spiritual world or spiritual part of the material world, which is gone, we get instructions and advice. But here, Lord Krishna is not giving advices just like that. He gives a pep talk. Oh, Arjuna, you're speaking high sounding words, um, but it is of no use because they do not represent a Arya. Is You are speaking like an important person. He's chastising. He's giving a pep talk. But then Arjuna confirms, "Oh Krishna, I cannot fight because they are my superiors. How can I counteract my superiors? Uh, so I will better live by begging. I don't want to fight with them." And then he is further explaining his indecision. I don't know which is better, whether to fight or not fight. Then he accepts Krishna in shloka number 7. And shloka number 8, he says, Krishna, I cannot fight because I see that any kind of material problems, a material situation cannot solve this problem. So he is asking for an instruction. He begs, falls down at the feet of Krishna and asks for advice, asks for feedback, asks for instructions. So, instruction should not be given. We see Supreme Personality of Godhead himself gives an example that we should not give instruction unless or otherwise somebody surrenders unto us. So, then we may ask, Prabhu, should we give instruction to people that they should follow four regulatory principles, chant 16 rounds, and so on? Yes. So there are instructions which are generic. There are instructions which are very, very specific. So talking about Krishna, following four regulatory principles, chanting 16 rounds are all generic. And these are to be given. We need to distribute our books which contains this. This is the general wisdom of Krishna consciousness and Krishna. It is our duty to spread this. This is our responsibility. So we should tell this. However, if someone is not interested in our advice or instruction, we should not insist. If somebody is not interested to get up for Mangalarti, maybe then we should not give him instruction, then it will only backfire. So, unwanted help or unwanted advice will result in interference rather than assistance. So, the consequence of this type of interference is usually rebuffed and it is not considered as a support. So, this may result in straining of the relationship. So, we must be very careful when in understanding what is a general instruction and what is a specific instructions. So when only based on our the inquiry and the relationship which we have built with our devotees on day-to-day basis, on one-on-one basis, we should give instructions or advice. Otherwise, we should just do our sadhana in a right way. Or there are people who are in authority position who can uh, take up some indisciplinary things and they can give advice because they are in that position. and they have the authority to make decisions also. So that is how we should approach it. Or if we find something going wrong, then we need to go to the authority and explain it, and then leave it to authority to take it forward. So this is how it should be, it should be handled. So in case of Arjuna, we see that at the end of first chapter, he communicates his decision that he's not going to fight, and he's putting it aside his bow. So then Krishna cannot start giving advice to him immediately from 2.1 or 2.2. So he is first chastising Arjuna, what is this? Why you are doing all this? Then Arjuna is clarifying his position and surrendering. And then only Krishna is giving him the serious instructions. So here, if I go back to the shloka, Prahasanaiva Bharata, Krishna is smiling gently. So in 2.1 shloka, we see that it is Ashru Purna collection. His eyes are fully filled with tears. Arjuna's eyes are filled with tears. Arjuna is crying. But here we see that Krishna in 2.10, Krishna is smiling. So how do we understand this? So Krishna is has to empathize with Arjuna. So acharyas like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura and Prabhupada, they have explained here. So he is moving from a friend to disciple and master. So when the relationship is changing, so Krishna is thinking how Arjuna, who was a friend, is brought down to his knees by the difficult conditions of life, and therefore he's smiling. So we may probably ask how Krishna, who knows everything, he knows everything, why he should do like this. But Krishna is always likes to enact his pastime in a very nice way, in a very natural way. So that is why he smiles. He is smile. Prasanaiva means smiling gently. So that is how we should take. Then Krishna is talking about um, the Atmanyana. I think we will now open for questions. I should cover this 2.11 and 2.12 in the next class. So let us now open for discussion. Hare Krishna. We can open now for questions and answers. Any questions? If there are no questions, then we can go with 2.11 and 2.12, because it is a good thing. These two slokas are very good slokas. Okay, so since there is no question, let us go to 2.11. I'm just sharing my screen once again. Shri Bhagavanuvasha Asoshayan Anvasoshatvam Pragnavadamsha Basase Gatasum Agatasumscha Nanu Sosayanti Pandita. So Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Bhagavan, we discussed this point last class. While speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Pragnavadams. This is talking. You're speaking like a learned one, but you do not. But those who are wise do not lament for living or dead. So this is first. Here we need to understand two things. This Soshayan, you see, one, two, three. Three times it is used. So you are mourning. This means that Krishna is telling Arjuna that you are mourning for something which is not worthy of it. You are overcome by emotions. So learned one, do not lament for unworthy things. That is what Krishna wants to emphasize here. Then other thing that we want to talk about here is Asun. So here Asun is life. Actually, this is life air. Now, this this one we should understand. So we have, according to Ayurveda, there is a network of air in our body, and this network of air in our body is controlled through nostrils, also through all other holes, principally through our nostrils. Now we see between gross body and the subtle body, the connect is this air system. So if somebody is emotionally imbalanced or stressed, if he takes deep breath, then the heartbeat comes down, stress comes down. So emotions and physiology of the body is connected by hair. So when Yamadutas throw the Yamapasha and pull the subtle body out, along with the subtle body, the life air also goes off. So what goes off is life air. So it will go through any one of the holes of the body. So that is what is referred here. So Krishna is now, so that is what we should understand in this one. Now, the purpose of the education here, Krishna is telling Arjuna that you have learned, you are talking about as a learned person, but you have not realized it. You have not really transformed yourself. If you have learned really, then you would have told me that, okay, I will fight. These are all the bodies are anyway going to get destroyed. These are all souls. So, the purpose of education is not just verbalization, but it is transformation. So if you see, Arjuna is used in the first chapter, iti shushruma narake niyatam masav papameva shreyat asman. Like this, he has used many big words. Uh, so he also tells that he has seen from the Shastra. But these words have not transformed into, has not brought transformation in life of Arjuna. Is only verbalizing whatever is given in the Shastra. So it is not helping Arjuna to come out of the illusory situation. So he is not able to identify what is meaningful and what is meaningless. So that is why Krishna is chastising that it is not transformation. It is he is still mourning for something which is not worthy of it. So in our current education system, Prabhupada actually tells this the current education system as slaughterhouse, because it is taking people away from Krishna, and it is moving them into um, deeper regions of hell, because for them to get back human life will be very very difficult. They may verbalize things better, they cannot transform. As a degree in engineering or degree in medicine does not mean that he will be free, he will be truthful, he will be having mercy. So Satyam, Daya, Tapa, austere, he will be austere, he will be clean. So you will be taking intoxicants, you will have illicit sex, you will do gambling, you will be engaging in meat eating. If you are not giving up all this, we are not transforming ourselves to a better life. So, so our education is just a slaughterhouse. Good that we are into Prabhupada's movement. We are reading Prabhupada's books. So when we chant Hare Krishna, we are transforming from. That's a definite transformation from what we were before we came to ISKCON and what we are when we started chanting 16 rounds following 4 regulative principles. So this we can see, this is Pratyaksha Avagamam Dharmya. So this is the speciality about Krishna consciousness. So I'll go to the next shloka. This is very, very interesting. Natu evam jatu nasam, natu neme janadipa, nachaiva na bhavishyamaha, sarve vayam ataha para. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So here, Krishna is the first point here he brings out is individuality of personality. He's not talking about soul, he's talking about the personality. So Prabhupada here quotes Ramanujacharya. So in his book here, he's talking about Ramanujacharya. So I just want to. So there are 3 points which Prabhupada is making here, which is also from Ramanujacharya's commentary. So the point one is there is a personality is in illusion. The cloud that you see here is illusion. So when it transforms himself, he becomes Brahman. So he comes out of illusion and loses his personality. So this is what is impersonalism talking about. So if he is moving from personality to no personality, then the entire idea of Bhagavad Gita 2.2 is defeated. So personality of living entity is eternal. So this is Mayavada argument. A person is in illusion, that is why he is in material world. Once he loses his personality, becomes Brahman, then he is shapeless, formless Brahman. But this is against the feature, point of 2.12. Then there is another point which Mayavada philosophers talk about. One is conventional and philosophical argument. Conventional argument, if a person tells a fat person that you are fat, it is a conventional one. But philosophically, we can tell your body is fat. This is a philosophical argument. So conventional method only requires personality. So Mayavadis argue that only conventional method requires personalities. Uh, Philosophical method does not require personality. That is why the Mayavada philosophy says we don't require any personality. But 2.11, Ramanujacharya says that if that is the case, Krishna is entirely chastising Arjuna that he has spoken all eye-sounding words, but he is not showing any transformation. So from 2.11 till 2.30, Krishna is going to only speak higher philosophy. So definitely 2.12 is philosophical. So personality is philosophical. So this is the takeaway here. Now, point number 3 is Krishna is Guru. And we can see that Adi Shankara's Krishnastakam, he has written Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanora Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Mande Jagadguru. Arjuna, who is in illusion, he is surrendering to Krishna only because he thinks Krishna is beyond illusion. And Krishna tells that he has the personality, Arjuna has personality, all the kings here have personality. Then where is the question of zero personality? So personality exists everywhere. So Krishna is the supreme spiritual master, and Krishna is emphasizing the identity in all the 3 phases, that is past, present, and future. So Mayavada philosophy is completely smashed. So there is so these are the key takeaways in 2.12. So if you go back to the shloka, so if you read that, Never was there a time where I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So it is identity of eternality of personality, which is talked about, which is killed in the Mayavada philosophy. But Ramanujacharya, as well as Prabhupada, bring these three arguments, which is personality is living entity is eternal. It is not just transformation, and personality is also in conventional. And Krishna being Jagat Guru is emphasizing the personality is there in all the three phases. So on this basis, we can smash the Mayavada argument. Okay, are there any questions? We can probably extend for some more time so that if there are any questions, we can discuss. Maybe 5 minutes. We can take 5 minutes. Are there any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji Dhanatnam. Thank you for these insights. The perspective that you
Maybe
provide
you
is
can
very,
read through the purports. If you
yeah.
think you have any questions, you can ask in the next class. Maybe beginning of the class itself, we can have a question answer session between say when our class is starting at 7 o'clock India time. Maybe 7 to 7:15, we can have a question answer session, and then we can go forward the next set of slokas. Okay. Okay, fine. If there are no questions, then we will stop here. Thank you very much for joining. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhayya patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo nama Anantakoti Vaishnavinda ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Gaur Premanande Hari 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 Bol Hari.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभुजी. संदीप प्रभुजी.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभुजी. हरे कृष्णा.
हा, सुरू करायचं का?
हा प्रभुजी, मी 2
हा,
मिनिटात घरी पोहोचतोय. डॉक्टरकडे गेलो
बर बर.
होतो. हा
हा,
सुरू
चेतन
करतो
प्रभुजी
आपण.
आहेत का? मगाशी होते ना?
हा मगाशी होते. जस्ट एक त्यांना मेसेज टाका ते करतील जॉईन.
हा,
मी पण
बर,
घरी पोहोचत
टाका
आहे.
मेसेज मग. हा,
हा
मेसेज
टाका,
टाका, मी
मेसेज
करतो
टाका.
सुरू मग.
हा सुरू करा, सुरू करा. मी करतो, मी गाडी चालवतो.
बर बर, ठीक आहे. हरे कृष्ण. ओम नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपिष्टाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ती वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देव गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे. हरे कृष्ण. हरे कृष्ण. Ramananda Roy then give evidence from Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 54 verse. Written, the Lord says as follows: when a person realizes himself as not different from the supreme absolute truth by the cultivation of knowledge, he becomes joyful and freed from all kind of lamentation and material desire. At the time he perfect his Brahman realization by looking at everyone on the same spiritual level. This stage of Brahman realization can elevate one to the transcendental stage of devotional service. The purport is that Ramananda
अरे
Roy
आजोबा आले का त्यांचे? घरीच आहेत ते.
first suggested devotional service with renunciation of fruitive result from one's work. But better than that stage of life is devotional service with full knowledge and spiritual realization. हरे कृष्ण. आता इकडे असं सांगितलेलं आहे की रामानंद रॉय भगवद्गीतेचं जे 18 चॅप्टर आहे त्याच्यामधला 54 वर्स याचेही ते सांगतात की ज्याच्यामध्ये असं सांगितलेलं आहे, ब्रह्मभूत प्रसन्नात्मा न सोचती न कांक्षती समा सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद भक्ती लभते पराम. म्हणजे ज्याप्रमाणे एखाद्या मनुष्याला जेव्हा ब्रह्मभूत अवस्था प्राप्त होते किंवा परब्रह्माचा साक्षात्कार होतो, त्यावेळेस तो कशाचाही शोक करत नाही आणि कशाची आकांक्षाही करत नाही. तसेच तो सर्व प्राणीमात्राच्या ठिकाणी समभाव ठेवतो. अशा अवस्थेमध्ये जे असेल त्यालाच भक्तीची प्राप्ती होते. जसं की इकडे पण सांगितलेलं आहे भगवद्गीतेप्रमाणेच की जोपर्यंत एखादा माणूस स्वतःच्या म्हणजे नॉलेजने ज्ञानाने ह्या गोष्टी समजून घेत नाही आणि सर्वांशी समभाव जोपर्यंत ठेवत नाही तोपर्यंत तो म्हणजे भक्तीमध्ये त्याचा प्रोग्रेस होत नाही. आणि तो आनंदी म्हणजे ज्यावेळेस तो आपल्या ज्ञानाने ह्या गोष्टी समजून घेईल त्यावेळेस तो आनंदी होईल आणि त्याचं जे मटेरियल डिझायर आहे म्हणजे भौतिक गोष्टीबद्दलची आसक्ती, ही आसक्ती त्याची आपोआपच कमी होईल. आणि ज्या वेळेस तो अशा स्टेजला येईल त्याच वेळेस त्याला म्हणजे त्याचं प्रनन्सिएशन म्हणजे तो जे आपलं जे डेली वर्क आहे किंवा ज्या गोष्टी तो भौतिक गोष्टी करतो त्या भौतिक गोष्टी सोडून देऊन तो स्पिरिच्युअल गोष्टी करायला लागेल आणि त्याच वेळेस त्याला भक्तीमध्ये त्याचा प्रोग्रेस होईल. हरे कृष्ण. काही कॉमेंट करायचं प्रभूजी वाच पुढे. हरे कृष्ण. Lord Chaitanya again rejected this proposal because in that stage of simply renouncing material result in Brahman realization, there is no realization of the spiritual word and the spiritual activity. Although in the Brahman realization stage, there is no material contamination, yet because there is no positive engagement in the spiritual activity, it is not perfectly clean. It is still on the mental plane and therefore external. The pure living entity is not liberated unless he has the complete spiritual idea and is engaged in spiritual activity. When one is absorbed in impersonal thought or void thought, then his entrance into the external life, blissful life, and life of knowledge is not complete. When spiritual knowledge is not complete, people will hinder you in your attempt to vacant the mind of all material variegates. Impersonalists are hindered in such attempts to make the mind quiet by artificial meditation. It is very difficult to make the mind void of material conception. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that those who indulge in such a avoidance or impersonal meditation make very difficult spiritual advancement, and what they attain is not complete liberation. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya rejected it. आता जसं की इथं रामानंद राय हे चैतन्य महाप्रभूंना एक एक गोष्ट सांगतायत त्यांच्या नॉलेज नुसार, आणि ते चैतन्य महाप्रभू त्याचं रिजेक्शन करतायत. तर इथे आपण जसं वरती पाहिलं की ब्रह्मभूत प्रसन्नात्मान सुचिती कांक्षती सम सर्वेषु भूतेशी मदभक्ती लवते पराम. म्हणजे एखादा माणूस हा परब्रह्म अवस्थेला किंवा ब्रह्मभूत अवस्थेला प्राप्त झाला की तो त्याचं भक्तीमध्ये प्रोग्रेशन होतं. तर ही जी गोष्ट आहे जी रामानंद रॉय यांनी चैतन्य महाप्रभूला सांगितली, तर हे जे प्रपोजल आहे त्यांचं हे चैतन्य महाप्रभूंनी रिजेक्ट केलं. आणि त्याचं कारण त्यांनी असं सांगितलं की म्हणजे रेनॉन्सिंग मटेरियल, म्हणजे आपण जर मटेरियल लाईफ म्हणजे भौतिक आसक्ती जर आपली कमी झाली तर आपण आपोआपच ब्राह्मण रिअलायझेशन म्हणजे ब्रह्मभूत अवस्थेला आपण जातो. परंतु याचा अर्थ असा नाहीये की आपण आपल्याला स्पिरिच्युअल लाईफ म्हणजे जे स्पिरिच्युअल आपल्या लाईफ आहे भक्तीमध्ये त्याचा आपल्याला पूर्णपणे रिअलायझेशन झालंय असा त्याचा अर्थ होत नाही. मग आपले जे म्हणजे ज्या ऍक्टिव्हिटी आपण परफॉर्म करतो त्या सुद्धा स्पिरिच्युअल असायला पाहिजेत. म्हणजे आपण जरी मटेरियल कंटॅमिनेशन आपलं कमी झालं तरीही आपण स्पिरिच्युअल ऍक्टिव्हिटीला एंगेज होऊच असं नाही. आणि जोपर्यंत आपलं ते मेंटली आपण त्याच्यामध्ये जात नाहीत, म्हणजे आपण पूर्णपणे मनाने त्याच्यामध्ये जात नाहीत, तोपर्यंत ह्या ज्या ऍक्टिव्हिटी आहेत चैतन्य महाप्रभूंच्या म्हणजे अँगल मधून जर आपण पाहिलं तर ह्या गोष्टी एक्सटर्नल आहेत. मग जे प्युअर लिव्हिंग एंटिटी इज नॉट completely liberated unless he has